Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm Katz and today we are going to take our IELTS exam. It's actually February 7 today and we are going to take our speaking test first at 10:40 a.m. with the British Council. So the British Council is just right across St. Luke's Medical City. So it will be easier for you to find. So this is the British Council building. They are located at the 7th floor. It is just beside a big Mercury drug. So it's around 10:50 now and I just finished with my speaking test. I'm very grateful for the topic because we talked about business and the instructor was very kind, the examiner was very kind, and I really felt at ease taking my speaking test with him.
Now it's time to go back and take the other tests.
So time check, it's 4:47 p.m. and I just finished my listening, writing, and speaking test. What I love about the British Council, it's very clean, it's very organized, and the staffs were very helpful. So tomorrow when I wake up, I'll be sharing with you some tips on how I did my listening, writing, and reading test. So with God's grace, I was able to finish the test on time. I only had 1 week to prepare for the test and with all my worries and anxiousness for the test because I really didn't know what IELTS was. So I'm really happy that I was able to finish the test on time and I was also able to review my answers. So I'm so thankful to God for allowing me to finish it and hopefully get a band score of at least 7 or 8.
So just a little backstory, I was really supposed to take a placement test with my school, but suddenly they required me to take the IELTS exam. So I only had 5 days to prepare for this exam. So during those 5 days, I took a lot of mock tests. I listened to a lot of YouTube vlogs and I also attended the webinar of British Council. So in this latter part of this video, I will show you a few tips that I was able to use during the exam. So first, let's talk about the listening part of the exams. First, you have to make sure that the audio is very loud and clear. It doesn't matter if it's loud as long as you can hear it loud and clear because the audio would only play once. So for my first tip, or my only tip for the listening part is that you guess your answers first while you are reading the questions because it is easier for you to anticipate the exam when you already have heard the audio. So if ever there's a question like, my daily wage per hour is blank, so you know that you're expecting a number. So while you are waiting for the audio to play, you can already put like an 8 or 9. So while the audio is playing already, so when the audio is playing already, you can just shift the answer to another number. So the fill in the blank portion of the listening test came at the first part of the exam and on the latter part of the exam. I was actually happy that the bulk of the listening test was mostly fill in the blanks because I can do that very well than listening to conversations and then predicting their answers. So I also recommend that you answer straight to the computer if you're taking a computer-based IELTS exam, then writing on the paper first and then transferring them to the computer because you might run out of time if you was put your answers first on a paper and then transfer it later afterwards. So let's move on to the reading test. Actually, I'm not good at this, but I was able to survive. So for the reading test, my only tip is that the answers come in order. So if you're looking for question number 1, you'll probably see that in the first part of the text. If you're taking question number 2, you'll probably see that in the second paragraph and then so on. But that doesn't apply in all the parts of the reading test. It applies to most of it, fortunately. So in the reading test that I took with British Council, I had 3 medium-sized paragraphs and then I was thankful that the British Council screen was quite big, so it was not so hard for me to read. I also used the highlight feature. Don't forget to use that when you're taking the computer-based IELTS exam because it would really help you highlight the details that you need so that you can easily find the answers in the text when you are already answering the questions. It's also important that you don't dwell so much on one question because you might run out of time. So I suggest that you go back to it later because I'm sure, and it was really effective for me because as I read through the other questions and as I went through the whole paragraph, I was able to find the answers for question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. When you have finished the exam early, don't waste your time. Just review because when I did my own review for the exam, I was able to change around 5 to 6 answers because I thought my first answer was correct, but when I did review my answers, I still had the chance to change them. So for the writing part, I took the academic IELTS exam. I think the questions will be different when you take the general IELTS exam. So for the academic IELTS exam, the first part contains like a pie chart or a bar graph or a line graph. What I got was a pie chart, and then the second question is you have to answer a certain question and then you have to give details or your opinions about it. So the bulk of the writing test will come from the second part of the writing test. So I suggest that when you take the exam, you give more time to the second part than the first part. So in my case, I did the second part first, and then when there was like 25 minutes left, then I shifted to the first question. So the question that I got for the second part of the writing test, if I would support further studies in the living probability in Mars. So I think looking back, I was really able to give strong arguments. I only had a generic argument about the topic. I wasn't able to give like good examples about it to support the arguments that I had. So actually, I thought the second part was harder, but when I shifted to the first part of the exam, it was harder for me to put into words the pie chart that I was seeing on the screen. So I really struggled because I couldn't finish the 150 words. So I also suggest that you really practice and watch IELTS writing tests because remember, this is not an English test, this is an IELTS test. In the writing part and even in the speaking part, they will check your vocabulary, how you choose your words, your grammar, and how coherent you can write and answer the question properly. Finally, let's talk about the speaking test. So my only suggestion here is that you really practice speaking in English to anyone before you take the test. So the question that was really hard for me was to answer my hometown and talk about it because I really didn't know much about Quezon City. So I just said that it is a place where 2 popular universities are located, UP Diliman and Ateneo de Manila University. And then the question that I got for the second part is, who is that one person or one friend that inspired me? So I was able to talk about my consultant before, and then we just talked about business and like the business performances here in the Philippines, how the Filipinos work, how people would want to retire, and the work-life balance we have here in the Philippines. So for the second part of the speaking test, you are required to speak for 2 minutes. So my suggestion is, if you don't have anything to say anymore and the examiner hasn't stopped you yet, just talk about the future because this will help the examiner to listen more to you, and this will give you the chance to show yourself and prove yourself more to the examiner. So again, I took my IELTS exam with the British Council in BGC, so I really recommend them because even when I registered for the test online, it was very easy. You just have to pay by a credit card or bank transfer, and they will give you all the details in your email. They also give you free access to their webinars, and you also have a free access to all their IELTS mock test. You will receive all of that once you register with the British Council. So I really appreciate also all the staff who guided us during the whole time for the test, from the guards who have greeted us to the admin staff who took our photos, and even the personnel who were checking all our details before we entered the speaking test and the other room for the writing, listening, and reading test. I also appreciate all the proctors who were very kind during the listening, reading, and writing exams. So I really recommend that you take your exam with the British Council. They also have a big screen for you, and the place is very conducive for taking the test. It's not noisy at all, and it's very clean. And so yes, good luck on your IELTS exam, and stay safe, and don't forget to always just pray, because if I was able to do it, you can also do it. Remember that nothing is too hard for God, and that was the verse that I really brought with me during the whole exam. I took the exam on Feb 7, and on February 9, around 8 to 9 p.m., I already got my results online. So the good news is my overall band score is 7.5. I really didn't expect it. I was only required to get a 5.5 by my school, and I was just hoping for a 6.5, 7 to 8. But I'm happy that I got a 7.5. Today is February 14, and the hard copy of my IELTS exam is already here. So, sharing with you the results of my IELTS exam. Ta-da! So again, thank you for watching this vlog, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below and I will try to answer them. For now, stay safe and see you on my next vlog. Bye!